Yo, looks like I'm streaming. So, let's see if we can turn on X. See if we can turn on Rumble, which works. Good. All right. I don't know that I have anything other than YouTube chat open, so if you're talking on X or Rumble, I'm not necessarily sure how to view those chats. So, kind of where we're at with this. Pretty cool though. We're up on YouTube. My name is Charlie Kuchlenz. I'm here in Minnesota. Former chair of the Libertarian Party of Minnesota, running for Minnesota State Auditor. Got a simple platform. First, I'll tell you a little bit about me. So, been a data engineer for the last 15 years, consulting in Minnesota and surrounding areas. And my very simple platform for the Minnesota State Auditor is essentially that I want all municipal financial transactions, so all of your cities, your counties, your townships, even your school districts, I want all municipal financial transactions to be completely transparent and publicly accessible through APIs. So if you're not familiar with what an API is, I'll break it down pretty rudimentary overview of what an API is. Anytime you fill out you go to a website and you fill out your address bar. So fill out an address in there, and basically what that does is the browser sends a request to a server, and the server interprets that request through its programming interface, and then responds with data. In your browser's case, it would be HTML and a reference to probably a cascading style sheet or a CSS file for it to render. But what we can also do is we can send regular data through there. So what we do as data engineers, we connect to applications to pull data into what we would call a centralized repository or a data warehouse. Or now data lakes are a big thing. So we just basically throw them into a big mess of files somewhere in AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. But these files can represent in multiple different ways, whether it's JavaScript object notation or JSON or an XML format. But these basically what we can do is we can hook into all of the municipal financial applications, whether it be a QuickBooks or I think most of the small cities and townships use what's called CTAS, which is actually a state auditor application or a managed application by the state auditor's office for small municipalities to be able to run their transactions in a consistent way. And so through that we can auto update our data on a batch process. So every night we can go in and say, okay, give me all the new transactions that you processed today. Or if it's a small municipality, maybe on a monthly basis. Fine. We just want that data updated pretty consistently, right? And so we can schedule those to be batch processed based on the times that they close their books. What this allows us to do is basically aggregate all of those transactions into a common schema. So a standardized architecture to be able to source analytics from. And so at the rate that we're going right now with AI is coming. We're not going to be able to get rid of it. So what happens is we're basically going to be able to utilize this large language models to be able to interpret the transactions that are coming in through municipalities to be able to flag them or run any audit process. So I'd say we're anywhere from 6 to the lower end of 10 years for AI to be ingrained in pretty much every process that we encounter within our economy. So every market, every subsector of our economy is going to be somehow influenced by artificial intelligence. It's just the way that we're going now. It's the way analytics is going. It's the way that we're going to be interpreting analytics. It just that's the nature of the beast. You see companies, big companies that I use their products every day. Snowflake, Databricks, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. All of these big cloud companies and computing companies are going to be leveraging data. That's all AI is. It's learning data. So the faster that we can build a large language model to interpret municipal financial data, to be able to analyze and audit the individual transactions, to be able to say, hey, this is not necessarily this is a bad practice, but if we can at least cater the algorithm to say when a practice is suspect, then we can look at that. The beneficial piece of this is essentially we're democratizing the audit process. So anybody can go out to their local municipality or their state auditor's website and look up their local municipality and see what transactions have been processed. Obviously, the centralized repository, the state auditor doesn't necessarily have the purview to be able to say, oh, I want to aggregate all this together and see, who's doing what. That's not their purview. It's essentially, hey, did your practices adhere to our accounting standards? And that's a rudimentary auditing process to say, hey, the transactions are within the certain limits, but at the same time, we want to look at the values of the transactions. And who knows the value of a transaction closer than the people that are living in the municipality? So if you live in a township, if you live in a county, you hopefully have a view of what's going on in that county. Hopefully you are aware enough to be able to say, we've got construction going on at a certain spot, or we have a new school levy that's coming up. I'm specifically talking about my school district. But at the same rate, I should be able to question that. I should be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to take District 196 to account, right? District 196 in Egan, Apple Valley, Rosemount. Essentially, we've got a new referendum, and it's not a new referendum. Sorry, it's a continuation of 2015's technology levy. So, what did we spend all that money on for 10 years? And where's the accountability of it? Where are the upgrades? I want to see the invoices. I want to see the transactions that were processed in the name those tax dollars were spent on the purpose of the initial levy. So I want to be able to look at that and say, yeah, okay, well, we spent a lot of money on networking infrastructure, right? So we upgraded the network infrastructure. We've got faster networking throughout the schools, and maybe a couple schools hit it first, and it costs a lot of money. But how many resources did we buy? Are we upgrading with new cat, whatever cat cable is currently? I don't know. I'm not a network engineer, so you tell me. Who are the vendors that we use? What's their pricing like? What's the consistency? And what are the invoices? And how are we? How did the project go? Who planned the project? Are we on task? Are we on target to hit that? And I would assume not. I would assume we aren't. That's just the nature of, maybe we looked at it and we said we thought this is what was going to happen, and we encountered some problems that we didn't necessarily foresee, which is fine. It happens on projects. Lord knows I've been plenty of projects that have gone over, and we do the best we can. But say that. Be honest with yourself. Tell the people, this is what's happening. This is why we need a new levy. This is why we need a new referendum. this is the future of what we're doing, and we can leave it up to the public to be able to decide whether that's a valid issue or not, whether we want to go forward with it. The thing that I've seen is that we get to a point where, I don't know, we're passing things that don't go to public preview, right? I've got a friend down in New Prague who just happened to be at a city council meeting like he normally does. You know, he's a good citizen. He'll probably hate me for saying that, but you know, he's a good person, and he shows up to the city council meetings, and at one point they were, you know, ready to approve bonding for you know, a new police station, and he called it into question. He said, well, when did we pass a new police station? Like, we're going to raise taxes anywhere from 12 to 15% with this new police station. We've got a new school district referendum coming in November, so that's going to be another tax increase. We're looking at a potential anywhere from 25 to 30% tax increase based on these two things that are coming up, and one of them never even went to a public vote. So, you know, it's those types of things where we can start to look at where are the transactions coming in, where are the transactions going out, what are we funding, how do we stay on top of it in a faster manner. And what we can do is start to provide some dashboarding for that and say, look, here's how your municipality rates on, here's the new transactions that are being processed. Sorry, I bumped my mic there, but here's the new transactions that are being processed, and keep people abreast with a dashboard that says, every month, check your new dashboard, check your dashboard. Or we can even schedule, you know, RSS feeds to say, hey, the dashboard's been updated. Go check your settings for your municipality and bring these transactions to your city council or your town board or your county board or your school district, and start to voice your opinion on the things that we're spending money on at these municipal levels. So this is my plan for Minnesota State Auditor. I mean, people might not agree with it. I think it's pretty rudimentary when it comes down to data. Just looking at the specific transactions and saying, look, we're going to be able to aggregate these across vendors and across municipalities and see, okay, how many vendors do we have that are playing in a certain space that are really only funded by tax dollars. So, you know, this could have ramifications up at the state level. I'm not saying it's going there right away. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get rid of it overnight. So this is going to be a long process for people to be, you know, accepting new information, understanding how to articulate the findings that they have, how to at least confront the boards or the people that we've elected when we do find something of question, right? I'm not saying that everything that is questionable is malfeasance. I'm saying that questions arise when people see transactions. And so we can ask those questions, and the people that have made the decisions are the ones that can answer it. That's what they're there for. That's what we've elected them to do. So I guess what I'm asking is that you elect me as the Minnesota State Auditor to be able to run this project for the next 4 years, to be able to say, hey, we're gonna democratize all transactions. We're gonna democratize the audit process. So anybody with an Excel spreadsheet can go out and download transactions from Minnesota State Auditor's website, and essentially just you know, be able to run our own audits. I think that kind of bridges the gap that people are not asking the right questions right now. You know, everyone's asking, how do we recoup these hundreds of millions of dollars, or how do we recoup the $1 billion that the state has funded? And it really comes down to this. It comes down to understanding the data. It comes down to being able to process transactions in an effective and efficient manner, and being able to articulate understand what the transactions mean. So asking the right questions of the people that made the decisions, and whether they're within the proper framework or not, right? So, you know, as we progress and we get into, there's going to be more state funding for nonprofits. There's going to be more people, you know, trying to game a system. But now we've gotten to the point where hey, we can apply some of these stringent requirements upon a new vendor or a new nonprofit that's seeking grant funding, to be able to say, hey, okay, anytime you receive grant funding, it goes into a specific account, and the state has purview to audit that account. And any transactions that are coincide with that account have to be for the specific reason that you sought funding for. So, what I'm saying is that these are going to have legislative issues, legislative ramifications, and hopefully we progress for the better, right? So we can still fund some of the key programs that people of need absolutely require. But at the same time, we're going to put some accountability behind it, some transparency. So this is my pitch for state auditor. I'm just popping on here as a stream. I'll try to make this public, but at some point, this is bound to happen. And I say the quicker we get to this point, where everybody is aware of every transaction that is being processed at a local level and has the ability to be able to search for it and to analyze it themselves, I think we're heading in the right direction. The thing that I don't want to happen is, 4 years from now, we're fighting over the same thing, and AI has absolutely obscured any visibility or any any sense of trust within the data that we're receiving, because I think that I just think that that's the potential of that is unimaginable. At some point, if everybody is transacting through AI and large language models, and we're allowing for automated transactions to be processed, which is already here. I mean, and we start allowing it at a municipal level, without the visibility, all that data is really bound to the request process. So it's all public information anyway. You just need to go through the proper request process, the bureaucracy, to be able to consume it, and that costs money. When you request a subset of data or accounts or budgets or what have you, typically you're going to get an aggregated view of what they've published. But if you want any details, it'll take some research on their side, on the request side, maybe the comptroller's office or what have you, or whoever manages the finances in your municipality. And so it's going to take them time, and it's going to cost them money, and you're going to have to pay for any copies that they might make. And then you're going to have to ingest that into a platform to be able to analyze it yourself, break it out, associate transactions with vendors, and it gets messy. If we can do that at a technical level prior to that and just basically grant that for you, you'd be able to pull that down with an API, bring it into your system. We can analyze it in Power BI or Tableau or Excel or Click or anything that you want. Upload it to Snowflake or Databricks and build your own repository and go haywire with your analytics. And I think that is where we need to be. That's the way it is. So I think over the past 10, 15 years, transparency has not been an issue for the Minnesota State Auditor. We have not made strides in transparency or advancements in technology, at least to my understanding. I'm sure that we've probably built some things within the State Auditor's office that allows for more efficiency. I'm not privy to any of those individual details, so I'd be happy to have that conversation with anybody who has been on those projects that say, hey, we've tried this before, it didn't work. I'd be happy to sit down and kind of go over my plans and how we could productionalize this and make it more efficient. But basically what I'm asking the public to do is grant me 4 years. 4 years to be able to change the way that we operate in the state of Minnesota at a municipal level. And it really comes down to that transparency issue. So send me any questions, criticize me, throw anything at me. I love it. I'm going to try to do these more often now that I've got OBS Studio up and running. That's kind of where I'm at. So enjoy. Hopefully this goes through, and hopefully we've got a lot of we'll build a movement around this. So, all right. Thank you very much.